It's been over a month since I sold my Steam Deck LCD and used the money from that and a couple hundred more bucks in order to buy the Steam Deck OLED. I've been wanting to upgrade to the OLED ever since it was released, but I finally got around to doing it just recently. Although I was already playing on my Steam Deck a decent amount, this fantastic refresh of the device is absolutely incredible and really reignited my passion for handheld gaming and for the Steam Deck ecosystem as a whole. I want to discuss why the Steam Deck OLED is arguably still the best handheld gaming device you can get in 2024 and how the various tweaks Valve has made to it over the original LCD Steam Deck have created one of the best handheld gaming devices ever made. To start, we'll discuss the Steam Deck OLED's design and ergonomics. The design of the Steam Deck OLED is pretty much the same as the original LCD version, with a few subtle tweaks. Firstly, the thumbsticks on the OLED are a little different to the LCD, as they've been given a much grippier texture on the joystick itself, which actually is a really nice change that makes it a little more comfortable to use them, not that the LCD's ones were bad. This is probably the most noticeable of the changes on the controller part of the device, and other areas have also seen a little bit of texture change that makes them just a little bit more comfortable to use, especially in longer gaming sessions. The most glaring change in terms of the design to me, however, was the increase in the size of the screen itself. I believe the LCD Steam Deck screen size is 6.8 inches, with the OLED screen being 7.4 inches. This may not sound like a lot, but with a handheld device like this, the increase of the screen size is definitely noticeable to me, and is the perfect size for a handheld screen in my personal opinion. There's also been a change in the overall weight of the device, although it wasn't egregious with the LCD either, with the OLED being 640 grams compared to the LCD's 670 gram weight. The design of the Steam Deck OLED is one of my favorite components of the device overall, and the Steam Deck really is one of the best looking handheld devices out there. In addition to its looks, I wholeheartedly believe that the Steam Deck OLED is the most ergonomic gaming handheld ever made. I've also got devices such as the PlayStation Portal and the Legion Go, but none of them have ever compared to the comfort of the Steam Deck. The OLED is super comfortable to hold due to its protruding grips at the back, and the grips aren't so large they take away from the aesthetic of the device, but are perfectly balanced in providing comfortability and a great looking device at the same time. Out of all the handhelds I've used, especially if you wanted to compare this to the Nintendo Switch OLED as well, the Steam Deck OLED is definitely the one you'd want to pick up if you wanted to game for longer than an hour. It's the most comfortable and durable handheld I've ever used, and if you're looking for comfortability in a handheld device, there's nowhere else to go other than the Steam Deck OLED. The overall design and ergonomics of the Steam Deck OLED is unparalleled in this space, and Valve has really perfected a device that is both extremely comfortable but also aesthetically pleasing in all facets. The most obvious of all of the changes to this refresh of the Steam Deck is of course the OLED screen it's named after. When I first bought my Nintendo Switch OLED, I also immediately noticed the stark contrast between the vibrancy of the colors and the richness of the colors that existed between both versions of my Switch. This same substantial improvement is definitely apparent with the switch from the Steam Deck LCD to this new OLED version. The colors truly do pop on here, and the first game I played to completion on the OLED was Hogwarts Legacy, which really shines on this device, as all the spells, environments, and action all radiate with vibrancy and a richness that I didn't see with my original Steam Deck. I do plan to get an OLED monitor one of these days, but at the moment the Steam Deck OLED has really made it clear that OLED screens really do provide a huge difference over their LCD alternatives. Playing games on this screen is an absolute treat, and for me is the major reason I decided to even upgrade to the Steam Deck OLED, and I do not regret the decision even one bit, as the colors of every game I've tried on it so far pop and make the entire gaming experience that much better. One of the greatest aspects of the Steam Deck OLED is definitely the custom built Steam Deck OS that the device comes with, that provides a very console-like experience that not only makes it easy to pick up and play, but works extremely well in how games are optimized for the deck specifically. The game library consists of almost all of the games on Steam, with there being a few exceptions, especially in regards to games that have an anti-cheat system, so a good amount of multiplayer titles. But in terms of the majority of titles, most of them are supported and many run absolutely flawlessly on the Steam Deck OLED. I've enjoyed playing a good amount of games on the Steam Deck OLED, and everything that I've thrown at it, either verified or even marked as unsupported, works so well. from the Ori games to Vanquish to the aforementioned Hogwarts Legacy. All types of games are supported extremely well on this device and are all compatible with the OLED. Steam is one of the biggest storefronts on PC, as all of you would know, so the plethora of games that are available at your disposal is almost limitless, and whatever genre you're into, there's definitely a multitude of games that you'll find on Steam, and that will be supported for play on the OLED. Even older games that don't even have direct controller support have been made playable by the amazing Steam Deck community through community controller layouts that makes many of the older Xbox 360 era games that don't have controller support on Steam natively extremely playable and super fun to play. In fact, if there is a game you want to play that isn't on Steam or that you own on another launcher such as GOG or Epic Games, you can easily play these too by simply installing third-party launchers made by the community that you can easily integrate as a non-Steam game, allowing you to play all of your PC game library in one place. The UI of the Steam Deck OLED is also definitely one of its strengths, with the custom SteamOS being easy to navigate, being able to sort through all your games through all types of menus and settings, and navigate easily to the store at your earliest convenience. Out of any handheld I've used, the UI of the Steam Deck OLED is definitely the most user-friendly, and it's also super customizable if you do want to mess around with some of the community-made plugins and features that can make your Steam Deck OLED's UI look completely different to everyone else. There's also quick menu options that let you customize a number of options that can boost performance or preserve battery life. You can of course mess around with the brightness of the screen, but more importantly you can edit the TDP being used by the device, which is essentially the power consumption of the device. Depending on the type of game you are playing, you either lower or increase this TDP level, which will also impact the battery life you have. We'll talk about the OLED's battery life in the next section, but being able to customize the TDP depending on what type of game you're playing allows you to not only get the best battery life, but also the best looking experience on the deck. I honestly can't see any problems with the gigantic variety of games that you have available with the Steam Deck OLED, and the entirety of the Steam storefront at your disposal provides you with thousands, if not tens of thousands of quality games to get immersed into. Overall, the game library available on the Steam Deck OLED is one of its strongest features, and I don't see myself ever getting bored by just using the OLED in order to work on my gigantic gaming backlog, and the fact that almost all of the games are playable with a UI that is so easy to use and customize makes this device one of the best out there. Now onto the OLED's performance and battery life. I'll preface this by saying that I'm not one that is really fussy about battery life, especially as I don't play for sessions longer than an hour, and I'm absolutely fine with playing at 30 FPS on a handheld device. Let's first talk about the performance of the OLED. It's pretty much the same as the original Steam Deck, although you might see a difference of a few frames on particular games, but this is across the board quite a minimal difference between the two devices. I've always thought that the Steam Deck's performance is absolutely fantastic, and games such as Red Dead Redemption 2, Hogwarts Legacy, and smaller indie games will work absolutely flawlessly on the Steam Deck OLED. Of course, the newer the game you try to play, you have to make a few compromises as to the graphics in order to get the best experience in terms of frame rate, but I've honestly not needed to tinker very much with the settings in the majority of games that I've played. So many games work right out of the box and feel absolutely fantastic and super smooth to play. I really enjoyed doing pretty much my entire Hogwarts Legacy playthrough on the OLED, locking it to 30 frames per second and being able to just explore the world and get into spellcasting battles without batting an eye on the performance. The Steam Deck is very optimized, and many game developers have worked to ensure that their game is specifically optimized for the device, and in the case of many of these games, they run incredibly well. I've played games such as Yakuza Kiwami 2 and Mad Max, in addition to bigger AAA games such as Assassin's Creed Odyssey, all on the OLED, and they've all been absolutely great experiences. Indie games and older AAA in particular shine on the device, as you can often get many of these games running at 60 FPS or even 90 FPS, which makes them very smooth to play and makes it the best way to experience many of these games. Now onto a little bit of discussion on the battery life. The battery is definitely improved from the LCD, as Valve has increased the battery from 40 Wh to 50 Wh. This has seen a great increase in the battery life of the device, and many of the older AAA games that I've played such as Vanquish get up to 5 hours of play with the device, and even newer games such as Hogwarts Legacy, where I max out the TDP for the best possible experience, gets over 2 hours and 30 minutes of game time. For me and many others, this is absolutely perfect, and if you aren't satisfied with the battery performance of a particular game, you can always just mess around with the TDP and get the battery life you'd want out of that game. Overall, the actual performance of the Steam Deck OLED is absolutely amazing, and a large number of AAA games in addition to many smaller indie games will run absolutely flawlessly on this device, with this being complemented with stellar battery life that lets you play for hours on end without any hassle. If you've been on the fence about getting a Steam Deck OLED, I really recommend this device wholeheartedly, as many of these handheld devices have reignited my love for gaming, and I've really enjoyed the convenience of being able to pick up the device whenever and play for just a little while, and then pick it up later. The Steam Deck OLED is definitely the easiest to use out of all of these handheld devices, with an amazing game library, a versatile UI that is all complemented by that beautiful OLED screen, and incredible battery life across the board. Anyway, I hope you all did enjoy today's video. If you did, consider subbing to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.